Are live, guys. I will hit my intro here in a little bit, but I'm a little worried because I'm watching Twitter and updates are coming. We had talked about Robert Fratta earlier today. There is a reporter by the name of Grace White, and shout out to everybody that's coming in. I will definitely greet everybody here in a minute, but giving you guys an update. In the last 30 minutes, literally, there was an injunction. Then that got basically was granted by the district court. The execution stands for Robert Fratta, and we'll talk a little bit about that case. Shout out to everybody that's coming in, but it sounds like the execution is still moving forward. You have a reporter by the name of Grace White, who's saying waiting to witness the execution of Robert Fratta is Robert's brother, or excuse me, Farah's brother. Farah was the ex-wife of Robert Fratta. Robert was convicted to basically a murder for hire situation with two other individuals. He paid $1,000 to have his wife murdered. Okay, and she was execution style in the head, and his alibi was church with his children. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the intro here in a little bit, but again, there's a reporter there that's saying waiting to witness the execution of Robert Fratta is Farah's brother, okay, the victim's brother, and the couple's oldest son. All right, victims advocate Andy and social worker Judy Cox are also witnessing with the family. Outside a spiritual advisor, no one is here on Fratta's side. On Robert Fratta's side. Let's go ahead and hit this intro right now and get things going because I just started and going back and forth and watching the delays, but let's go. Welcome, everyone. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let me see where everybody's at right now. Let me shout out my beautiful, wonderful members. Chico, generally Jenny. Shout out to you. Miss Dailies is in the house. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody from Facebook as well. Nicole Bryant, Brianne, shout out to you. Miss Clover, Pink Volo. Welcome, Leslie. Welcome, Leslie. I hope you're doing well. It's been a minute. It talks baby girls in the house as well. Shout out to everybody that's in here. Let me see who else I have in the house that I have new to the channel that I'm looking at. I think I saw somebody by the name of Berlinda, and I also want to shout our new member out by the name of Melissa, or not Melissa, Michelle. Generally, Jenny's in the house. Um, Michelle is our new member. Shout out to her. She joined us at the earlier live. Make sure you guys, if she's in there, shout out to you, Michelle. I saw your comments. Thank you for becoming a member. And Bobby's in the house as well. Shout out to you. Thank you guys. All right, we're gonna get this going because it's a lot. Make sure that while you're coming in, you hit that like button. You know, this case right here, and I had shared with everybody. Shout out to everybody. Uh, when I was a criminology student, you know, you tend to study a lot of cases, right? And this happened to be one of them that I studied, and this was back a long, long time ago. Part of it is because around the time that he went to trial again, Robert Fratta, for the murder of his wife, the murder for hire plot, and the two other ones. I was an undergraduate student, right? So you're looking at this case, you're looking at various cases at the time. You know, you'd have your professor assign you certain cases. So for those that don't know, the Robert Fratta case is something that was huge in the 90s, okay? And we have some updated news that it looks like the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals overruled the injunction by a Travis County judge that was based on claims that the state is using expired drugs. Okay, so that was something that they wanted to get in right away in there in order to delay, I guess, the process, the execution process. And clearly it's been overruled. So let me tell you something, guys. Texas does not play when it comes to execution, right? They don't. They just don't. Okay. And as you can see, 5 minutes in, hashtag Robert Friday is now appealing the decision made. This was 5 minutes ago, and this was a tweet done by Death Row Watcher. This is what they're saying. Texas, hashtag Robert Friday is now appealing the decision made by the hashtag Texas Court of Appeal, Criminal Appeals, lifting the injunction that was in place for him and three other men incarcerated on the state's death row to the state Supreme Court. Frada is claiming that this is civil. Let me see if I can make it bigger. This is civil. Okay, that's what they say. That's what they're saying. So we have another reporter there by the name of Robert who's saying breaking the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals decision may not be the last word on tonight's scheduled execution. Robert Fratta is appealing to the Texas Supreme Court, arguing that this is a civil matter which the TCCA has no jurisdiction. More to come. Yo, I mean, so I guess it's to be determined what's going to happen tonight. Texas does not play. Texas does not play. And let me see who else is in the chat. Let me see who else is in the chat. Let's see. And again, I am not here to have a conversation or argument about whether you believe in the death penalty or not. This isn't what this is about. This is clearly giving you guys an update about what is going on here with this. So I want to make sure that we're very careful. I like to respect people's opinions in my chat. You're all very, very much welcome, and you can stand on them. But again, please note, this is not about whether you believe in the death penalty. This is about what's happening right now with Robert Fratta. Okay, so shout out to everybody, and I'm seeing different subscribers and everything. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Teresa says, "I am here." Welcome, Tailsbox, who says, "I'm a new subscriber." Sonia, I don't think he's going to get out of it. This is what she's saying. Generally, Jenny says Texas doesn't care if those drugs are expired, anyways. I mean, I've never heard of any type of anything, but I mean, that's it would be a first for me. Chico says, "Look, if he doesn't want to go that way, they could always do the old-fashioned route. He could be fried. So I think he needs to be grateful because that's worse. Lord have mercy." Oh my God, you guys. That is too much. Hey, Deanne, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody from Oregon. And make sure while you're coming in, make sure you drop, hey, if you're from a different country, drop your flag. If you're from a different state, name your state. I guess my question is, how do they know that you know what? That is such a good question. It talks, baby girl. She says, I guess my question is, how do they know that they are expired? I didn't know that they carried an expiration date. And who keeps track of that as well? I'm curious to know. I'm curious to know. Tennessee doesn't care. Arkansas doesn't care if they're expired. They'd be doing it on here on expired meds. Oh my God. Shout out to everybody from Omaha, Nebraska. All drugs are dated. Texas. Right. But then I'm also kind of wondering if they're all dated, like what happens if they use expired drugs? Like what do they not work anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I get it, like something is expired, you don't use it, but this situation is a little bit different. This guy has been on death row so damn long. Yes, he has. Yes, he has, Susu. Yes, he has. The drugs are very expensive. Doesn't Texas still have a firing range? Oh, Lord, Michelle. I mean, they stopped making them, so states still using them go thrown into weird places. With them being expired means that they might not work in their true can lead to lawsuit. I mean, Brandy says if they don't work, then what do they do? Ebony says that an expiration date is just a suggestion. Ebony, yeah, I don't know about you and your comment, Ebony. I don't know about you. Good evening, Bella. How are you? They people are saying that they should work fine. Um, so they're so expensive, it's cheaper to keep someone alive. I mean, did you think about the appeal process and all that other stuff that happens? Guys, they could even have adverse effects. This is what Brandy's saying. You guys are going back and forth. Look, why don't I do this on my chat right now while you guys are here debating this because I think this is an important topic. Why don't we go ahead and do a little poll while you guys are watching? Because I'm kind of wondering. Um, they're not denying that they're not expired. Here's my question to everybody in the chat. Should Texas, all right, use the expired lethal drugs? Should Texas use the expired lethal drugs? Yes. I'm going to say go for it. It's expired. No, it's inhumane. And then I'm going to add another option. No, how about I'm unsure how to answer this poll. Okay. I think that is a good question to ask because I know some of you guys are saying they shouldn't use anything. I don't believe in the death penalty. Some of you guys are saying, yes, go ahead and do it. Go for it. It's expired. No, it's inhumane. Let's just ask everybody in the community that's in this chat right now because let me see how many people we got in the house so far. We got 90 people in the house so far. Okay. Shout out to all 90 of you. I just put up the poll. I know some of you guys feel very don't let me wait on the poll. Very very much about this situation. So I'm just kind of curious to know. And I think that as long as we're all adults in this house, you guys are adults. See, Patty says, listen, capital punishment is barbaric. A lot of people feel different. We may not agree with that, but that is not the debate today. The debate is should they have moved with these expired meds or not? Okay. And if you feel like you can't answer it, that's okay. That's why I put in a third option for you guys. One of the things that I was taught while I was an undergraduate and grad school is that you have to be able to have conversations with the people that you don't agree with, or even on topics with the people that you don't agree with, because that is exactly what makes you able to have those crucial conversations. Totally crucial conversations, right? So I'm always for a conversation in which I don't agree with the party. I think it's important for us to have those conversations. Okay. Uh, okay. Make sure you guys vote. Make sure you guys vote. Let me look at this poll real quick. Let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay. Ooh, Lord have mercy. So we got 55 votes so far. I think I want to assume everybody has voted. I don't know, or 56 votes. Okay. Should Texas use the expired lethal drugs? 54% has said yes, go for it. It's expired. 28% no, it's inhumane. 18%, I'm unsure how to answer this poll. And that is not a bad answer because sometimes we don't know how to answer that situation, right? But given that some of you guys have saying it's expired, that's inhumane, right? They shouldn't be able to do this, right? I don't know. We have not, Brianna. Do you want to set the goal? You guys check out my mod. She's setting the goal for us on our likes today. What time is it supposed to be administered? It was supposed to be administered, I believe, at 6 o'clock Texas time. Okay. 6 o'clock Texas time. And then there's been these appeals. We don't know where we stand. I'm watching Twitter because you already know Twitter is like the first one to know. All right. And let me see where we're at right now. What time is it in Texas? Do I have anybody in Texas here? Time zone in Texas. Where are we at? What time is it in Texas? Let me know in the chat. It looks like it's 7:13 in Texas right now. Yes, I'm looking. Thank you. 99 in the chat and 61 likes. Y'all better get these likes up right now. 7:13 in Texas. Thank you, American Mama Bear, for giving me the time. Central time is Texas. Thank you, Peekaboo. Shout out to you. 7:13 right now. 7:15. Some of you guys have your watches a little too fast. But let me make sure. Let me make sure. What is Google saying? Go back. Okay, what did I just share? No, that's not what I meant to click. Go back. Here we go. Robert Fratta, where are we at? Where are we at with Mr. Robert Fratta? 14 minutes in. We already read that update. Trying to see what updates we have right now. Here, this was 11 minutes ago. The execution of Robert Fratta will move forward according to the DCJ. This comes after a court overruled a judge who tried to stop tonight's execution. Hashtag Grace White for live updates. Why don't we follow Miss Grace White right now? Because it looks like she's probably out there and keeping everybody up to date. Yeah, she's been there. Look at this. She's at Huntsville right now. This is where the execution is taking place. Right now, people are protesting and everything. I would be able to answer the poll if I knew how the drugs were affected by being expired. J Rose, this is why I put the third answer, my love. Go ahead and select the third answer because it's sometimes we don't know, and I think that that is a fair statement. Okay, what if somebody said in the chat? What if they used like I'm not opposed? Someone said in the chat, I'm not opposed for them using the drugs. However, what if there's adverse effects that could affect the process and then you have all these other lawsuits that come out of that, and I think that that is a very valid point. It's a sequence of drugs. Hey, Lady Webbs, thank you for coming in. She says if one does not work, it will throw everything off, and just witnessing it would be worse for people to watch. There you go. 3 drugs total. That's right. That's right. Executioners carrying out a valid death warrant are not practitioners administering drugs to a patient because they are not providing therapeutic treatment of injury, illness, or disease. Do you guys see this? Do you guys you guys are giving different perspectives on this? Look at this. Hey, Miss Kathy P, how are you? It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. Crazy 8, shout out to everybody that's in Texas. Guys, if you have anybody in Texas, please drop and let me know you're from Texas. Crazy 8 says, I'm in Texas, and I'm sure Robert's wife would have taken expired drugs over being shot in the head. And I believe it was X because they had divorced around that time based on the case. Ooh, Mighty Marsha said, listen, the results are the same. Dead is dead. BB is in Texas. Shout out to everybody from Texas. I know I got some people here in the house from Texas. Look at this. Just take them down. Night, night, Robert. Texans, look at this. I'm in Texas. Shout out to all the Texans in the house. Y'all are coming in and saying hello. Make sure you drop down and let me know where you're from and hit the like button as we're talking about this situation. This is, I don't have an opinion, and I'm going to be honest with you because I am kind of a little on the fence. I'm in the fence of like, what is going to happen? And I'm watching Miss Grace's updates here. There they are outside of the Huntsville, excuse me, Huntsville. Yes. I'm kind of on the fence because I do think about, well, what could happen if there is an adverse effect? Like, what are they going to do with this man if like is I don't know. I feel like it's a balancing act if you're playing with something that's expired. But you have to remember something too. This man has been in death row for about 30 years. Okay? So he's been there. He's been there. I don't know. Oh, yes. Yes, my love. Thank you so much. And I'm being honest, I don't have a say per se. I know some of you guys feel very strongly, and I want to make sure that your voices are heard. Here we have 81 votes thus far. Okay? And you guys are still saying, yes, go for it. Go for it. 82 votes. Yes, go for it. 55% is still ruling the poll. 24% is saying, no, it's inhumane. Okay. And then you have the 20% that say, I'm unsure how to answer this poll. People, Crazy 8 said that people take expired drugs all the time. Crazy 8, I don't know. It may not be due to the job. Eye for an eye. Queen Bella says, listen, this is eye for an eye situation. Okay. And for those that don't understand or know this case at all, I will tell you Robert Fratta is, like I said, it was a huge case in the 90s. One thing why I remember this case so much is because it was so complex in the court, but also because of gosh, I want to say it was featured on America's Most Wanted. And I used to watch America's Most Wanted a lot when I was a kid, a lot. And I think one thing I remember from this case is Mr. Robert Fratta kind of like thinking he's hot shit. I'm just being honest. Bodybuilder, that he thought he was the hot shit. I remember this part. I don't know if you guys had watched this case before, but when he had a little bit of blood on his face, he grabbed his finger, and I'm not going to do it, but he grabbed his finger, put it in his mouth, and wiped it off in front of the camera. Cocky cop. Yes. You guys remember, oh, thank you. It was the rabbit husband got me the headset because he was like, you need a headset, and it's noise counseling. I love it. So shout out to the rabbit husband. Um, he got in front of the camera. I just remember it. And sorry, my hair's all crazy on it. I remember him going in front of the camera and licking his finger and wiping it off like this, like this. And it was blood or something. This was after he walked out of like the jail or something. He went like this. And that, for whatever reason, that stood out to me. That stood out to me. I don't know. Shout out to Shar who says, look at you guys. I mean, there's a lot of new people in this house. There will be a practitioner at the execution. They will have to certify the death, and I sure will go. And I sure, if things go wrong, they will make an alternative. Lord have mercy. Let's watch a little bit of Mr. Robert Fratta when this case broke back in the 90s, okay? So you guys remember a little bit of him, but that's how I remember Mr. Fratta.
Fratta was murdered. Suspicion immediately turned to her estranged husband, Bob Fratta.
Did you originally have your wife killed? No, I did not.
Harris County Sheriff's detectives questioned Bob Fratta immediately following his wife's murder. Fratta was a Missouri City public safety officer, a hybrid firefighter police officer.
Who hit your wife enough to kill her?
Nobody I can think of. I mean, I can't think of anybody that hates her.
What's wrong with this picture?
There's no robbery, there's no sexual assault, there's no carjacking.
Fratta did have an alibi.
Well, the time it happened, I was at church with my children.
True, but detectives knew Bob and Farah were in the middle of a contentious divorce and custody battle. There was also the matter of the $1,000 in cash found in Bob's car the night of Farah's murder.
He is so self-serving, so egotistical, is a classic narcissistic that believes the world revolves around him.
Victims' rights advocate Andy Kahn has remained close to Farah's family.
Everyone was nervous.
Judy Cox was a social worker assigned to supervise visits between Bob Fratta and his children after their mother's murder.
Wow.
Bradley was 7, Daniel 6, and Amber 4.
I can remember her walking around the office and saying to anyone who would listen, the bad guys put bullets in my mommy's head.
Cox's notes from those meetings revealed the confusion and pain these children endured.
They wanted to know when they could live with him. Amber cried when he left and wanted just one more hug.
5 months after Farah's murder, Bob Fratta was arrested and charged with hiring 2 men, Joseph Andrew Priestash and Howard Paul Guidry, to kill his wife. Prosecutors said Priestash was the go-between and getaway driver, while Guidry was the triggerman.
Can I just remind everybody, too, that Guidry was only 18 when he participated in this. He was the hitman, and he was offered $1,000, and then they came forward and basically let everybody know what actually happened. Welcome to the membership, Peekaboo. Yeah, so you guys are aware. And it talks baby girl. She put it in the chat as well, so everybody's aware. According to the Department of Criminal Justice, there are 5 methods of execution in the United States: lethal injection, electrocution, lethal gas, hanging, and firing squad. Lord, I mean, it's there. It's there. You remember that Flutter Bear? I remember that. Like, he was kind of like winky for whatever reason that stood in my head. Yeah. Yeah, look at that. I'm surprised that the hitman didn't plant any stranger DNA to throw off the police. You're surprised that the hitman didn't plant any stranger DNA to throw off the police. I mean, I don't know. This was the 90s. I don't know. Yeah. So 18 is no excuse. He knows that the age, what was right and wrong. Well, I'm just letting you know that he was 18 at the time and he was hired. I'm not arguing about any of that, but I'm letting you guys know. Let Texas execute him. However, if they want, if they have, wait, generally, Jenny, I'm like reading your message wrong. Let Texas execute him. However, if they want, if they have the laws to do so. Lord. I've always been against the death sentence, but must admit lately I've had second thoughts. You know what? You're not the only one, Julie. I will tell you what I think that, and maybe some of you guys can agree to this. How there isn't enough mental health support out there. You got to understand that some of the individuals, it makes you wonder, before crimes are committed, how much of this could have been prevented, right? What did they need? Now, some people are just sociopaths and it's neither here nor there. But one thing that we need in this country, as much as people have weapons, we definitely need more mental health support and services for families, for individuals, because the mental health crisis here in the United States is so rampant. All right. And you can't tell me that mental health is not in line with a lot of the stuff that is happening in this country, period. Okay. Period. Thank you. Right. It is. It is. That's what we need. So, and that's just, I'm just saying. And it talks, and he was. So, Mr. Robert Fratta was a cop. He actually, I believe, was also a fireman at some point. So he had been kind of a bodybuilder, working in the system and everything. Okay. He planned this out. He did. He used the church as an alibi. Okay. Because he did. He took his kids and the church and the kids were the alibi. So, yeah. So you guys are aware. This case is deep. This case is deep.
Poor daughter, she stood in front of him. He could have spared her. These people are not human.
During trial, witnesses testified Bob Fratta talked to several people about finding someone to kill his wife.
They still try to pin the gun to me as though it was a reward for the murder, right?
Some of Guidry's jail phone calls were recorded.
Well, how come they use that gun against you? Because you had his gun. What's his name? Pristash's gun, right?
Actually, the gun comes from, I found out later, Fratta. Fratta gave the gun to Pristash.
Bob Fratta was convicted and sentenced to death in 1996, but more than a decade later, he won a retrial. An appeals court determined Pristash and Guidry's confessions were inadmissible.
I just felt so sorry for Lex and Betty having to go through that again.
Cox remained close to the family and was by their side when a 2009 retrial ended the same as the first. Bob Fratta convicted and sentenced to death.
I can't get that image out of my mind where he's smiling into the camera. There are certain cases that deserve the death penalty, and Bob Fratta's right at the top.
That scene right there, that for whatever reason, him wiping his face like this, for whatever reason, that stood in my head for many, many years. And then, when I went to undergraduate, read about this case even further and saw some of the stuff play out in the court and stuff like that. So for what it stood out to me. It just did. But this right here, no, Claudia, no execution yet. It's supposed to be tonight, it sounds like, but the injunction was overruled. So I don't know. They're going back and forth on this situation. But yeah, if you guys see that little flicker in the face, that was it just stood in my head.
Top of the list.
Farah Fratta's father has since passed away. Andy Kahn says he will attend Bob Fratta's execution, honoring a promise he made to witness the execution if Farah's father could not. Price Dash and Guidry are also on death row for Farah's murder. Their execution dates have not yet been scheduled. Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.
Whew. Guidry, again, was 18 years old when that went down as well. Dana said redo the poll. Where are you guys at with the poll? I'd like to know. Where's everybody? All right, we got 106 votes. Okay, so I'll redo the poll. But I guess my question is to everybody is, I feel like this is the question that has everybody stuck. Should Texas use the expired lethal drugs? 53% said yes, go for it. It's expired. 29% said no, it's inhumane. It's inhumane to use expired drugs. That's what 29% is saying. And 19% is saying, I'm unsure how to answer this freaking poll right now, Rabbit. I'm unsure how to answer it. I don't know. Look at you guys in the chat. Can I, it talks baby girl says, can I tell you it makes it to the U.S. Supreme Court. They will not accept an emergency writ and will be executed. Lord have mercy. Look at Claudia's like, can we get technical? Oh my God. I'm looking at my members. You guys, Claudia's like, look, how expired? A few months. Okay, does it make a difference? Does it make a difference? Hey, Michelle, welcome to the membership, my love. She says, so personally, I would not expire drugs used on me. You wouldn't want them used on you. However, I would not commit murder, so it is what it is. Y'all. Oh my God. Is there anything in the laws about expired drugs? Like, what do you do? Don't you think that would have had like a book or a protocol on this? Need more information. Hold up. I want to see your comment real quick. Where are you at? It's against the penal code to treat inmates inhumanely. Julie says it's in. Oh my. Y'all are really going in on the chat about this. Look at you guys. They may not work. Obviously, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's why I'm like, maybe they don't work. Why would we want to use expired drugs? Need more information on expiration. You know what? Let me tell you what I found on Twitter, guys. So while, let's see if I can, here it is. I found it. All right. Let me show you what I found on Twitter while researching before when I found out that this stuff was happening. Let me show you guys something. So this reporter actually had put out the I guess expired drugs judge says. Let's see what it says in here. Breaking. Texas cannot use expired drugs in executions. Okay. That's what it says. They can't. Says judge. District court rules in favor of 4 death row prisoners, including one facing execution tonight, preventing the state from using unsafe expired drugs in execution. Now, this was 3 hours ago, but I don't think that, I thought it was overruled. Based on what they're saying, it's still overruled. So Hold up. Let's see if any updates have happened. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals lifted the injunction by a Travis County judge that was based on claims that the state is using expired drugs. Jesus. Okay. Ruled. So today, the District Court of Travis County ruled that the Texas Department of Criminal Justice is violating state laws by using, for the purposes of execution, compounded something barbiturate, because I can't even say the name, that expired as far back as 2019. So Claudia, you asked how far back it was expired. It expired back in 2019. So, oh shit. So wait a minute. If it expired back in 2019, okay, think of it this way. How many people have they executed between 2019 and 2023 using the expired drug? Now let me change the poll real quick. Hold up. Yeah, Miss Clover, you guys are all reacting now. Let me change the poll real quick. Oh Lord, if I can move this. Hold up. Does that change it for you guys? Do you guys feel different now that we know a date? Let's see. Drugs. Here's another poll. Drugs expired in 2019. Should they use? Yes, because they used them before. If you have to think about it, I mean, has there been anything else that would have said that they haven't used them before? I don't know. Let me see. They used them before. No, it's inhumane. And I'm going to add a third option that says no. I just don't believe in the death penalty. I'm going to put, I don't believe in DP, okay? Death penalty, because I got to shorten the polls here. All right, guys, vote away. You guys asked for another poll. There's the poll. Vote away. Vote away. Here we go. I want to see everybody voting. While you're voting, please hit the like button. These are some real like social issues here that we are talking about in this channel, okay? And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of us to learn from each other. Yes, because they were used before. Lord have mercy, these votes. These votes. No, because it's inhumane. But see, here's my question to those. Okay, Brandon says, check Twitter. Witnesses have been moved to the execution chamber at Huntsville. Okay, I'm checking Twitter right now, Brandon. Thank you for the update. Let me see what's going on with Twitterland right now. Let's see. I didn't get to read this whole thing, but I kind of want to know. Ooh, it's already updating. Tolling the bell for Robert Fratta outside the wall unit, Huntsville stop execution. So, abolish.org is outside tolling the bell. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. This was just updated. Robert Fratta execution expected to proceed after last minute legal wranglings in Texas. They are expecting to move forward with this execution. Okay. Whew. We pray for all those involved in the execution tonight. Okay, let's see. Anything else? After a flurry of legal filings and appeals fails, Robert Fratta execution is happening. Witnesses have been moved to the execution chamber in Huntsville. So, I mean, that is the latest update right now. 2 minutes in, Texas to execute ex-cop for hiring 2 people to kill his wife. They are moving forward, guys. Where are we at with this poll? Where are you guys at? 62 votes in the poll. Yes, because they used it before. No, it's inhumane. No, I just don't believe in the death penalty. 11% have said. Lord. So there's been okay, so somebody actually just pulled the numbers for me. Shout out to this person. XMX said there's been 11 executions after 2019, which would make you wonder too. Like they're using this appeal, how many actually, and did they have issues with the expired drugs? Okay. Isn't it, look at you guys in the chat. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. The only time you need to worry about expiration is heart meds, allergy, stuff like that. He's going to die, so it doesn't matter. He is such a value to our society, I imagine. I don't think they have the same effect. I'm sure how I feel, but I think it's a horrible human. Apparently it is. Some people think so, and some are fine for an eye to eye. Everybody has a different perspective on this. So the action, has he been killed? I haven't heard anything yet. I believe the state sanctioned murder slippery slope. Everybody has a different opinion. This is why I don't really get into these type of debates with people. Um, because it's like I want to believe that everybody has a different reason for it, right? So we have to be kind of respectful and mindful of that. But what brings an interesting point of conversation is that these expired drugs have been talked about. I don't know. Let me see any updates right now. It doesn't look like it. Let's see. I'm looking at Miss Grace White Twitter as well. This is like, oof, I don't know. And please note that, I mean, there are victims in this crime, okay? There are children that grew up without a mother, okay? There are there are people that were hurt. Kids were hurt in this, and they've had to move on with their lives. Um, he has to be excited by midnight. You mean executed? Or the warrant is no longer valid and it has to be reissued by a judge. So then they could do all this all over again. It costs 2.3 million. Why are the meds expired? Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, please. Keep extra by bedside. Seriously, if they aren't as effective, they are prepared, right? Not to be dumb, but serious. Susie, that's a great question. Eye for an eye. Ooh, you guys. Lord. Yeah, Crazy 8 says, "Really inhumane? He took his mom he did." Yeah. Yes, and continue to say that I mean, he took after even people confess to the crime, after people confess to have been hired, um, this is what he said happened. I don't know. That's not mine. He says, well, it's 7:39 in Texas, so plenty of time to fix their dumb assery. Lord, they just give more if needed. They will still work. I'm too wishy-washy about death penalty. I believe in it. However, I personally could never sentence someone to death. Gen 1, I hear you. I'm gonna tell you what, I'm kind of at that point too. I am very as much as I believe in criminal justice and recidivism and certain aspects of it, the system is very much broken. It needs a lot of repair, but we say that about a lot of systems. If you think about it, we say that about the judicial system, we say that about the child welfare system, we say that about all kinds of systems. Okay. um a lot of us are very passionate about various topics. I certainly am. And I don't have the answer for it at all. I think a lot of us don't. But we know that certain things have to be done. Something has to change. Gun control is another issue. Mental health services and illnesses, as we have talked about, some of which are generational, that have not been addressed, that plague this country. And then you have the issue of access and money, all of which needs to be fixed. All of which, right? Ooh, plus the justice system isn't perfect. You can't undo once it's done. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hear you guys. I wouldn't want to be a juror who voted in favor of death, but I think that if the victim's family wants it, yeah, Farah's father, okay, that's what they wanted. Immediately they knew it was him. Then there was this, here's the other thing, there was a life insurance policy. A lot of people went in on that as well. It's a lot. It's a lot. But for me, I remember this case very well. So, I don't think that this is something that the legal stuff is done at this point. I think they're going to move forward with it. And let me see if I have any updates on the good old Twitter right now before we head out on this. Let's see, guys. Let's see what's going on Twitter, because Twitter's like where to go to get updated and stuff. Here we go. Okay. The Texas Supreme Court, and this was 30 minutes ago, has denied the final appeal. The state can now proceed with Fratta's execution. Okay. So there have been various appeals. My thoughts are with Robert Fratta. A lot of people feel very different on Twitter, guys. This is, anything, like I said, pertaining to the death penalty. It's different. It's different, right? And let me see. I kind of want to go back to the article that we were reading by the other guy, reporter guy, and he has done a lot of interviews and stuff like that behind bars. Let's see if we can find Robert Fratta's execution expected to proceed after last minute legal wrangles. Let's see. Let's see what else do we find here? I mean, people are the numbers out there to call the to grant clemency for Robert Fratta. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Twitter is in an uproar right now over this right now. It's going back and forth, so you guys are aware. Yeah. This is just so crazy. I remember when he looked like that. Excuse me, guys. I remember when he looked like that with this little haircut, because I think that's when I was watching some of that court case and stuff like that. Whew. All right, let's see if any updates at this point. Like I said, I think they're going to move forward, and there should be no holding back on this at this point. Let me see where everybody's at in the comments and in this poll, okay? Ooh. All right. Drugs expired in 2019. Should they be used? Now we have 60% that say yes because they were used before. 27% say no, it's inhumane. And 13% say yes, I just don't believe, or excuse me, no, I just don't believe in the death penalty. Okay? A lot of you guys are saying that. And let me look at these comments right now. Okay? They made people suffer, so beg to differ. Let me see. Let's see where everybody's at. He's gonna have a more peaceful ending than she did. I don't understand why they issue a death sentence and then keeping them waiting for years for it to happen. I'm in the UK, so we don't have the death penalty here. We have lots of prisoners that waste of money. The rehabilitation killed my daughter. Her murderer was out on parole. I'm so sorry, Ben. Ben Dreamin. She says her murderer was out on parole, for carjacking a woman on gunpoint. When he shit and killed my daughter for the car, I don't want to hear about one system for all. I am really sorry that happened in your family, Ben Dreaming. Our country's infrastructure needs to total overhaul of the physical, political, social. I don't think, Julie says, I don't think the victims' families are the best people to decide, but I feel sympathetic to them more than the criminal, of course. I don't know. Lethal injection is not a peaceful experience for any prisoners. The slow appeal process is for the benefit of the innocent. Much of the red tape in the system is. Death row inmates still aren't even executed for years. The prison should be making sure that the drugs they have aren't expired, though. This is what Lindsay says. And I think, Lindsay, shout out to you for saying that. Patty says, I don't agree. And if you poll all Americans, you'd have a different result. Most of Americans believe that death penalty needs to be abolished. That is very true, Patty. It's it's a hard conversation to have, I would say, right? Because a lot of you guys believe in it and some of you guys don't, and that is okay. That is okay. And let's see where we're at right now. And like I said, there are no updates right now in this situation. Whoa. And so that everybody's aware, Robert Fratta has always maintained his innocence. Always. Hey, Teresa, welcome to the membership. Another hashtag law of parties cases. Robert Fratta has always maintained his innocence, and even Texas admits he killed no one. I don't know about that. Sign and share the Death Penalty Act petition to stop the execution. actionnetwork.com, guys. Thank you. Yeah. It's a lot. But it sounds like, I mean, this had a lot of legal ups and downs, as we've been kind of watching, right? So let me see if there's another video that is definitely more telling of this crime and everything that happened. And again, this was 2 months ago. This was 4 days ago. I'm trying to see. Here we go.
Tomorrow, a man is set to die for hiring a hitman to kill his wife. Farah Fratta, a mother of 3, was shot to death in her Atascocita home back in 1994.
Our Grace White will be in Huntsville for the execution as a media witness tomorrow. She joins us now with the family's story. Grace?
Wow.
We went through court records, interrogation videos, and 911 tapes.
And this is the lady from Twitter.
Years since this all happened. And we wanted to better understand the murder of Farah Fratta and why her husband was found guilty of killing her.
The young girl, she still asks for her mother. Mommy, I love you, Mommy.
A mother ripped away from her 3 children by murder. And from the beginning, the prime suspect, her husband, Robert Fratta. In the Harris County Courthouse records, we found the 911 tape from November 9th, 1994.
Now in county, what is your emergency?
Yes, I just saw a shooting, please.
Okay, do you know if anybody's been shot?
The lady is down in her garage. She's been shot 2 times or 2 shots.
It was 33-year-old Farah Fratta, who was going through a bitter custody battle for her 3 children. In a police interrogation video, Robert Fratta claimed he didn't kill his wife because he would have gotten more money if she lived.
Did you really have your wife killed? No, I did not. I'll put it this way too. I mean, if anything happens to her, that's one of the things I was thinking about on the way over here is like, what the hell am I going to do now? I mean, me battling for custody was also relying on her to be paying me child support of $600 to $700 a month.
Fratta denied killing his wife and turned on the charm in front of the camera.
And I hope they find the guy.
But investigators charged him with murder.
His handcuffs are awfully tight.
Actually, I remember it was your station, and they had this incredible close-up of him winking at the camera, and I'm like, I've never seen a defendant smiling.
Victim advocate Andy Kahn sat through the trial. Fratta was a police officer and a firefighter in Missouri City, who Kahn says knew how to work the system.
So it was kind of unfathomable to think that, somebody with that background would actually be responsible, but then come to find out that he had been asking multiple people, anywhere from 8 to 10 people, if they could take out his wife.
But it was Fratta's oldest son who testified about being at church with his dad the night of the murder, calling into question what Fratta hoped would be his alibi.
Even though he was with the kids, he spent most of his time on the phone outside of the church, basically confirming everything. And he also had money that he was going to be paying the murder for hire.
Amber kept saying, when is my mommy coming back?
Judy Cox was a social worker who sat in on visitation between Fratta and his children after the murder.
What was it like to sit in that courtroom and watch a child that young testify?
Devastating. And he did fine. And
wow.
I think he now knows that his testimony was vital.
In 1996, Fratta was sentenced to death.
Justice has prevailed. Freedom has prevailed.
Farah's parents decided they would raise the kids and even change their last names to break all ties.
Wow.
I cannot wait for the day when I see him laying on that table, waiting to get the injection.
But in 2009, Fratta was granted a new trial. The confessions of his two accomplices thrown out, and the family was forced to do it all again. But after hearing all the evidence, the verdict was the same.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Robert Allen Fratta, guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment.
Fratta returned to death row. At the children's request, both Cox and Khan will be with them to witness the execution.
And you'll be there alongside them.
Yes.
Just like you've been throughout the whole process.
Wow.
Bradley even still calls me Miss Judy. He says, Miss Judy, I want you there.
Do you expect Bob to apologize?
No. He's a narcissist. They don't apologize.
Ooh.
They're trying to stop his execution, claiming the drugs Texas uses are out of date. We did ask TDCJ about that. They told us all the drugs are within their use dates and have been appropriately tested.
So, Grace, what happened to Fratta's accomplices?
Well, they were both sentenced to death, which is rare, but Fratta will be the first one to be executed.
Wow. All right. Grace White, thank you. We have a whole lot more on this story. We have coverage on KHU 11 Plus.
Yes. So he was found guilty twice. Okay, basically. You guys are calling it the other Scott Peterson case. Berlinda says this is like another Scott Peterson case. Yeah, so they're gonna move forward with this execution, guys. So that is a really nice, concise report on this case. Hey, Darcy. It used to be Peterson's, now it's Brian's. If there's even a Brian Peterson, we're doomed. Generally, Jenny's like, listen, no more Brian's, no more Petersons, no more none of this. I know, right? I hear you on that one. This is just, there is a news conference coming up. Lori, shout out to Lori who just put this in the chat. Is there, can you tell, let's see. Let's go find out right now. You guys already know. Let's go find out. Robert Fratta news conference before I leave the stream, because I'm going to have to. Oh, okay. Here we go. Hold up. Shout out to, here we go. Oh, wow. This is just outside the area. There's no sound, by the way. There's 234 people watching right now. It just streamed 18 minutes ago. Standing by for potential news conference in Huntsville. Lord. Yes, Gypsy, thank you for saying that. They did say that they tested the drugs and the drugs are okay. Okay. So, I don't know why I moved that. Sorry about that. This is outside streaming right now. Try to close out my other tags. Here it is. There's the podium right there. Okay. It Talks Baby Girl says that Robert Allen Fratta has been executed by the state of Texas as confirmed by those outside the Huntsville unit in Huntsville, Texas. More details to follow. So the man has been executed. It's been executed. It Talks Baby Girl, can you tell me if it's been posted somewhere else? Let me see if we can. Let me see where Twitter's at right now as well. Miss Grace White has not tweeted anything at all. Let me see the other sources right now. Yeah, let me see. The drugs must have worked. Drugs must work. Who tested the drugs? Prison officials or the outside source? Oh, it's on Death Row. Okay, thank you, my love. Let me go to Death Row Watcher right now. It sounds like they might have announced the Death Row Watcher of Robert Fratta right now. Oh Lord, I misspelled it. Death Row. You know how when you misspell something on Twitter, they give you the chicken, like a chicken. Yep, 4 minutes ago, guys. Well, we're on standby, but let's go head out to Twitter, to Twitterland right now, so we can go check out what Twitter's saying. Twitter is saying publicly right now on the Death Row Watcher 4 minutes ago, Robert Allen Fratta has been executed by the state of Texas as confirmed by those outside of Huntsville. This is the same information that It Talks Baby Girl just put out there. But yeah, just giving you guys a heads up. It's a sad situation. I mean, I feel for the victims, for the family. Can you imagine, being the oldest son and having to have gone through all of this? No, Patty. Now those kids have to come to grips with their grandparents pushing the execution of their father. What a legacy. Lord, I mean, just imagine the conflict within that family to have dealt with that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. But they have, you know, yeah. There's nothing. Oh, the conference is there. And I know a lot of you guys are conflicted by it. For those who do not know, the expired drugs do not change. They become less potent with the age, but just a few years, they wouldn't likely be weakened much, if at all, overcome by raising the dosage. Yeah, I saw that, Safari. I just did see that. I did see that. Yeah, I hear you, Jenny. I mean, even if I disagreed, I probably still witness there's a way to come that can choose to bear something if it's their decision. I hear you, Jenny. This is a tough one. I'm not like I'll tell you what, and maybe it's because having kids makes you a little bit different. You just see things a little bit different. And not to say that you have to have kids for you to feel this way, but I'm sorry, like somebody hurt my kids. I don't know if whether it would be the death penalty or myself, I would probably do so. I'm being honest. Like honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you that family, they need to be prayed on. They need peace. Period. Can you imagine you being 8, 9, 4 and asking for your mommy and your mommy's not coming home anymore? Like it's a lot. It's a lot. You can look the grief of this family. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know. Yes, violence is not only inherited, it's learned. Absolutely. Absolutely. Goes back to the what is it? Nature versus nurture. Love and light for the family, no matter where you land in this situation, light and love for the family, for those that were impacted. You know what I'm saying? It is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But shout out to you guys for being in the chat and talking about this. This is a hard situation. Um, it's just I can't imagine. I could imagine. I don't have kids, but I have a niece and nephew that could be likely my children. Absolutely, Jenny. Just in both ends, it's a horrible situation. All right, I think we have somebody that's going to be speaking. I hate my ex, but I would never cause my kids that kind of pain. Let me make sure that the volume's up on this thing, guys. Lord have mercy, the ramp on that thing. It is a super I hate talking about I don't talk about the death penalty because everybody lands a little bit different, and out of respect for my subbies and my members and everything, and the people that support and not only not support, but those that feel some type of way. I'm always on the fence about this topic and bringing it and talking about it because you just never know. The reason why I'm talking about this is because I followed Robert Fratta's case as an undergraduate, and I was always just amazed by it. And I remember being in class, and my professor was an attorney, so he would make us get heavy. Like he would test us. He would test us and say, "Well, I'm going to give you this scenario. How do you feel about this?" And you have to get yourself out of that. Take the element of the heart out of that and look at the things by elements, by facts, because otherwise you get caught up. And how can you be an asset to the community and society as a graduate of whatever degree or whatever field you're going to help if you don't take your heart out of the element for a minute when you're looking at things. Absolutely. I appreciate you, Generally. Number one, Generally Jenny, for staying here. I appreciate you and fostering good conversation. Lord have mercy. I love all my subbies that don't agree with me and all my members that don't. It Talks Baby Girl can attest to that. I love her because she keeps me grounded. So shout out to her. I know she's in the chat. All right, let's see this announcement and then let's see what they say from here. Yeah. One of the problems with the death penalty is that allowing someone to sit and perhaps change and then be executed. Another one is persons who are executed and are innocent. Yes, yes, and I agree with that. I also believe that the death penalty process is not perfect. They don't always have the right person, and there are people out there that have been wrongfully executed, just like there are people out there that have been wrongfully convicted. Shout out to the Innocence Project. When they look at different things. Yes, It Talks Baby Girl says, Louise to my Thelma. You're the Thelma to my Louise and the Louise to your Thelma. I love it. Yes. You just have to. And I appreciate you for challenging me. It Talks Baby Girl and such topics. So thank you for doing that. He reminds you of Scott Peterson. It is a great discussion, Dana. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love it because we don't have to be in conflict for it. You know what I'm saying? You don't. You really don't. Stand by for potential news conference. I mean, when are they going to get started? Some flesh is just evil. We will kill bugs because we don't want them in the house. Ooh, bowling with cotton balls. I come off as harsh sometimes, but I'm just super jaded from life experiences, so I can come across as cold sometimes. It's my coping mechanism, I guess. A lot of us do. A lot of us do. Don't life experiences make up a lot of the things that we say and what we go through, right? It's very easy to become jaded. Absolutely. David W. says death penalty should only be used in cases like Fratta, where the evidence is overwhelming. Should not be used in thin circumstantial cases. Ooh. While in college, I read a death row inmate's quote: "We have the easiest death of anyone on earth. When they figure that out, they may stop the penalty." Lord, Jen, look at what Jen just said. Whew. Hey, Sinner, welcome. I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing well. Jen says, I love this quote right here. My goodness. While in college, I read a death row's inmate's quote: "We have the easiest death of anyone on earth. When they figure that out, they may stop the penalty." Yes, mature, respectful conversations, please. Costs more to execute them than just incarcerate them for life. That's exactly why I don't believe in it. I try to keep it lighthearted, but it's strange. It's a strange world we live in now, scary at times. It is deep, Peekaboo. That's a deep quote. I don't, it's the resonating. I remember, excuse me, one time, this is okay, undergraduate work, right? Where you're, tested on a couple things. I had to read, Texas has this on their website. I don't know if Florida does, but you can read the last words that are said before, you know, the injection, before they do anything. And I did this is where I struggle. So it was like what was it? I think it was like abnormal psychology or something like that. This was a course in my undergraduate, and they made us go read the last words before they're executed. This is actually available online. You can go onto the Texas website and read these. We had to read those, and we had to read those and just kind of read them. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I read them and it gave me nightmares after reading them. I couldn't read, like, I had nightmares for weeks after reading the last words. So they are out there. I don't recommend that you go out and read somebody's last words before their death. Just like there's a website that talks about their last meals before they die. There's a website out there that talks about their last words. I don't I this was part of my assignment. I had to read it, and I had nightmares after that, and I said, I don't think I could work with people in death row. Like, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. It's a different I think it's a different, shout out to those that do that kind of work. But I don't it's a different thing when somebody's like in hospice, you know what I'm saying? And they're going through something medically, but actually reading their last words. And it's in print. It's out there. Texas has it out there. I don't think I can do it. I can't. Mm-mm. Yeah, you read some. Yes, I've read some of this in sociology. Did you, Michelle? Yeah, I was made to read. I think it was like abnormal psychology or something like that. And you had to. One of the assignments was is that you had to go and you read the last words before they're executed. Um, it was too much. It gave me nightmares afterwards, and that's how I knew. I said I can never work with anybody in the death penalty. Mm-mm. I couldn't do it. No, sir. Boy, this conference is taking a minute. If you're rich, chances are you won't get the death penalty. That's my problem with it. Oh, wonder what the last words of his wife that he killed Lori. Unfortunately, she was executed. It was like execution style. Like, it's just. Listen, I have empathy for killers too. You're not really allowed to show that in true crime. You know what? That is so true, generally, Jenny. Ooh, their sound is not working. Hold up.
A quick briefing tonight. Robert Fratta was executed for the 1994 murder of Farah Fratta. He was the first person in the state of Texas to be executed this year. Fratta did not make a last statement. He stared straight ahead at the ceiling and did not acknowledge the victim's witnesses at all. A spiritual advisor was there, held his hand and prayed as a lethal dose of pentobarbital was administered. And 24 minutes later, Fratta was pronounced deceased at 7:49 p.m. tonight. I do have two individuals that are here joining me. First, I'd like to introduce Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg, who'd like to say a few words.
Good evening. I'm Kim Ogg, Harris County District Attorney. The death penalty is reserved for the worst in America. It is the government and society's highest punishment for the worst crimes. Robert Fratta had his wife murdered to settle a divorce, something that millions of Americans go through. It was a premeditated crime. It involved two other people, a middleman and a shooter. And the victim, Farah Fratta's life, was negotiated down to $1,000 and a car. For this, she was murdered. Robert and Farah had 3 children. One of them was here tonight. Fratta never apologized. There was no question about his guilt. 2 separate juries tried him, convicted him, and sentenced to death. And tonight, justice was had.
Lord.
Now I'd like to introduce Andy Kahn with the Harris County Crime Stop. Andy.
Whew.
Thank you. Andy Kahn, Director of Victim Services, Crime Stoppers of Houston. Make no mistake about it, today is a day for Farah and her family. This is not about Bob. Bob was a coward in 1994 when he arranged the murder for hire of his estranged wife. He was a coward in 1994, and 28 years plus later, he still was a coward tonight when he was offered an opportunity to at least extend an olive branch to his son that he knew was watching this, as well as Farah's brother. And he still chose the coward's way out. He could have said, I'm sorry for everything I've done. I'm sorry for being an egotistical, narcissistic, self-centered, you know what, that destroyed the lives of his beautiful wife, that destroyed the hopes and dreams of 3 young children who were 7, 6, and 4 at the time. Make no mistake about it, Bob Fratta is the epitome of an atomic bomb, and he exploded in a family. And the reverberations and remnants of the actions of a narcissistic egomaniac play on for 28 years plus. I made a promise. I got to know Farah's family rather well throughout their long and arduous journey to finally get here tonight. The only thing that really bothers me about tonight is that Lex, Farah's father couldn't be here. Lex wasn't just an incredible human being. He was a member of Parents of Murdered Children. He helped so many other families go through what his family, he and his wife, Betty, adopted 3 kids that were essentially left motherless and fatherless because of the actions of Bob. And they took on that giant task and raised them. So I just want to look up in the sky right now because I know Lex, and I know Lex rather well. And I can't probably say a few things that Lex is probably saying now, but I made him a promise when his health was failing that I would be here today. And I just want Lex to know that we honored your promise. And finally, we got justice for your beautiful daughter, Farah. And always know that so many people in the Kingwood, Humboldt, and Harris County community deeply remembered Farah as a loving mother. And she'll forever be in our hearts that way tonight. So it's a difficult, emotionally draining, grueling night, as you can well imagine. But Bob Fratta brought this upon himself, and no one else is responsible for what happened here tonight, except for Bob. And knowing Bob, he would probably agree that, yeah, but I just can't admit it because that's just who I am, because the world revolves around me. And once again, he showed his true colors tonight. Thank you.
Wow.
You guys will take just a few questions if you have any. Otherwise, we're done.
Help me, Robert, I couldn't hear you.
Do you have an update on the execution they did
I do not. Every single death penalty case and every single inmate who has received the death penalty and is here on death row gets their own day. Each case gets its own resolution. We look at everyone independently. I have no future dates, but I saw the pain on this family's face like I do on every family, and we'll see that justice is done in all the cases. Thank you all. Thank you. Take care.
Wow. Whew. This is a lot, guys. That was the only question that they had. I think that the streaming is done now. All right, let me make sure I think I paused that to stop the streaming. Stop share. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, it hits a little different. It's a little sad. Some of you guys had that question about do officers. I thought it was some people volunteer to be part of the witnessing of an execution. I don't know how you could volunteer. Like I said, it is not an area that I could ever work in. It talks baby girl says my brother-in-law was a correction officer, even though we're on the opposite sides tables where it pertains to death penalty. He said that the ones he was a witness to at the time of the request the inmate, he didn't say anything. Yeah, I want you guys keep that family in your prayers. I mean, imagine the son testified against his dad when he was young, and then he's gotten away from not only the name but just in general. And there was no words exchange when all of this went down. I just don't even know. Mm, I don't know. I don't know, guys. It's truly a lot to kind of consume, but I'm glad that you guys are in the chat and at least willing to listen to a different perspective. This isn't justice. This is violence begetting violence. I mean, and a lot of people feel, differentiating opinions. If it brought some sense of justice to them, peace be with them. I respect that. Generally, Jenny. Shout out to you guys. You, generally, Jenny and Patty, as well as Chico. I'm not gonna say I'm glad, but justice was served in that case. If he sat there, it wouldn't even look at his victim in their eyes, then good riddance. Lord. This one hits different, absolutely. It's a lot, guys. But this is that piece where it's like, I'm not a victim to that crime. I'm not part of that family, right? We're out here just watching. I read it out of in a class, and we were tested and we were so I can only imagine what it's like to actually be there, and I don't want to. Like, I don't know. I don't think the chat is aware that the prosecution not ask for will not ask for what it talks baby girl. Isn't the son a felon? I don't know if the son is a felon. His children still couldn't get closure for him. On a lighter side, my 6-year-old daughter just called me. So yeah. Shout out to your daughter. The prosecution will not ask for death penalty if the family is not in agreement with it. There you go. The prosecutor will not ask for death penalty if the family is not in agreement, even though that may the death penalty, the family can have the last say. So his family requested, right? Farah, okay, who was the one that was the mother, okay, who was taken. The family, Farah's family, might have requested it. Yeah. Thank you, Susu. It's a lot. But I want you guys to, just keep that in mind. I mean, some of these cases are tough, and it's like generally Jenny said earlier. Sometimes one of the difficult parts about a true crime community, especially on YouTube, is, it's so hard to empathize with the perpetrator. Like it's true in general, right? It's a very hard position to be in. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate generally Jenny for saying that. It's an interesting point to make. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought the judge decides after all. Yeah, Julie. That's interesting. I will admit I'm not well read in regards to those specifics. Thanks for pointing that out. Thank you. It talks, baby girl. The family has the last say to this. I get attacked on YouTube if I empathize with any criminal circumstances. Yes, yes, you do get attacked. And sometimes it's just a very hard. Like I will admit I'm one of the ones that, I'm for victims. So when we empathize with a perpetrator, it's hard for me to wrap my head around that because when you're for victims, you're kind of for victims. But you have to also understand typically the cycle works that a perpetrator was once a victim to. As much as people don't want to hear that, it does happen. They were once victimized, depending on what the crime is. In the Texas penalty phase is a separate trial. The family can and generally do testify during this phase. I found myself empathizing twice during the studies. Yeah, me too, Jenny. When you're Jen, excuse me, when you're actually in the field and you're studying, it's normal. Like you do feel some type of way. You do even in the let me think of a case where um it's called the Gabriel Hernandez. For those of you guys have watched it on Netflix, I can't watch it. Like I watched a little bit of it and I couldn't finish it. The trial of Gabriel Hernandez, as it pertains to his mother and the stepfather. There were moments where I empathize with the mother and her mental health, right? There are times where it is normal to empathize with people. As difficult as that is, and that case was horrible, horrible. Okay, but it is normal to empathize with the bad guy. It's normal. When you find yourself like, damn, well, the mother was failed. What is the mother's history? It's the same. Like it makes you wonder what are some of these people's histories, and then it allows you to empathize. And it's a normal feeling, even though you might be chastised for it, you do feel some type of way about it. I don't know. Once they become, see, Peekaboo says, once they become a perpetrator, they're no longer a victim in my eyes. They know what it's like to be victimized, and they chose to make another victim. And I hear you. I hear you. It's a horrible situation to be in. But look, Eileen Wuornos is another one. Her being put out in the streets as a child. A lot of us, like even that one was hard for me too. Eileen Wuornos, um, if you do a case study of her life, you're like, whoa, she went through some shit. But the shit that she did in her life was not okay. There are times where you feel some type of way and it's conflicting and it's not popular to even admit. But if you sit down and you think about the worst, I'm just trying to think about the worst of the worst, but I don't know. I don't know. You have to think about those that you're like, damn, I could never. And then you sit back and you actually do a case study of their life and then find out where you empathize. And then you'll find a different side of them. It's very conflicting. It's very conflicting. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. But anyways, guys, I want you guys to do me a favor, like a huge favor while you're in here, because this is one of those true crime conversations and situations that I like having true crime conversations with everyone that enjoys true crime and that likes to dig into things. But I know how important mental health is, and I know that sometimes you just have to do this.
Time to put that phone down. Time to put that phone down.
Sometimes you have to put that phone down because it is not helpful. It is not okay. Like you just, and this is one of those cases where I'm going to have to log off and go do something else because it's a heavy case, even when I was studying. So I'm going to ask you guys, please, mental health matters. Thank you, Melissa, for saying that. Absolutely. Having empathy, absolutely. Absolutely. Ooh. Oh, Lord. I would not attend. I'll tell you that, Patty. I've made up my mind. When I was in my studies, I said I could never, ever, ever work with anybody in the death penalty. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. It wouldn't be me. But I hear what you're saying. But I want you guys to understand something. Please put the phone down. Check yourself. Hug your loved ones. Do your prayer. Do the thing that makes you helps you keep and stay centered in such situations. I want to thank everybody in the chat. We'll definitely do. I don't feel like it's appropriate right now. We're gonna do some rabbit twerking maybe tomorrow in tomorrow's live to welcome some of the new members. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna head out, but I appreciate all of you guys, especially those that stood in the chat, didn't agree, and was willing to have a conversation because you guys are awesome for that. And again, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself because nobody's going to do it for you guys. Nobody. Rabbits out.